Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Effed. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. I've been taking some time off recently due to some health issues. I enjoy being a fish owner, but I do not want to be fish food. And if I want to continue to have a lovely day, there are certain things that I have to take care of. So you're probably going to be seeing less of me on the channel as time goes on. I'm going to be taking a break in order to focus on myself, which is something I should have done 15 years ago. Best time to do it is 15 years ago. Second best time to do it is today. Today we're going to be discussing a school, a district in Poland that appears to be getting effed. And we're going to be discussing how the concept of subscription capitalism is kind of just gaining traction throughout the world in a way that I don't really like. I like capitalism. I think capitalism's a great thing. I like ownership capitalism. I like the type of capitalism where when I buy my car, I own its suspension. I don't want to subscribe to my suspension after I bought the car. Capitalism, subscription capitalism. It's really starting to go in the toilet here, particularly changing the terms of the sale capitalism. That's my least favorite form of capitalism, where you could just kind of take a contract and just willy-nilly just rip it up and say, LOL, JK, you're going to pay me more now for the same shit that you had before that you already paid for, which appears to be what's happening in Poland. So my apologies to anybody in Poland. If I'm mispronouncing some of this stuff, I do think it's worth getting some awareness on, but I'm not going to learn Polish anytime soon. This is an electronic journal application. It's called Edu Vulcan. For those of you who don't know what this is, the TLDR is that back in the day, we actually used to rely on things like handwriting to make sure that a kid was not cutting class. So if I wanted to play Need for Speed Hot Pursuit version 3 because I thought it was so much cooler than version 2 because you could actually have the cops chasing you and all this kind of stuff, I would say that I was sick. And then what we would have to do is we would have to forge a sick note from our parents so that it would seem like to the teachers that we were actually sick so that we would not get in trouble for cutting class. This is something that's very difficult to do. By the way, no, I don't think kids are ever going to understand how the shit that you had to do to make it look like in second grade you had the handwriting of your parents. What I would do is rather than write the note the way that I would usually write it, I would look at my parents' handwriting, I would turn it upside down, and then I would draw it. So this would allow my handwriting as an 8-year-old to match the handwriting of my parents. Kids these days are never going to know what it's like to have to fake an absence note in that type of way. That's how you know that you're old. Anyway, this is an application that allows you to tell the teacher, hey, my kid is actually sick today. He has chickenpox. He's not playing, I don't know, Need for Speed subscription version, change the terms of this, whatever the fuck. I don't even want to look into what they do for Need for Speed now. I'd probably fucking cry. But anyway, hey, my kid wasn't playing Need for Speed today. He actually was sick. He didn't go to school. For the teacher to be able to tell the parent, hey, your kid cut class today, or your kid got a 40 on his exam. I used to have to figure out the exact time that the teacher was going to do that so that I could go home, so that I could erase my mom's answering machine and pretend it was somebody else calling like a telemarketer so she didn't figure out that I got a 40 on my test. Now, they have an app for push notifications for that. That's what this application is for. And one of the things that they decided to do is they decided to start charging the parents for utilization of this application per child, per year. So you're going to be paying a subscription fee for your kids to be able to utilize this application that used to be free. Now, when I say free, I mean free to you. This application wasn't free. You as a parent were paying for it because they were charging the school for it. They were charging the school a licensing fee based on the size of that school, based on what they were using it for. And that license fee that the school paid then covered your ability to utilize this application. And you paid for that because your taxes in Poland fund the school system. After your taxes fund the school then pays the license for this app, so you already paid for it. In spite of the fact that you already paid for it, what they're doing is they're deciding that they want more money, so they're going to change the terms of the sale, reach their hand inside your pocket, and try to extract more money from you because, let's be real, they can. One of the things that caused me to decide that I was just sick and tired of the scam that is modern day college, not the topics you learn and everything like that, the way it is put together bureaucratically, were the textbooks. We have a company in America called Pearson VUE. It is one of the most garbage companies in the world, and I apologize on behalf of all Americans if the cancer of Pearson VUE has spread to your country. Pearson VUE does garbage like this, where they do this type of shit where apparently you can't do calculus if you use Linux. You have to use Windows with Chrome or Firefox. Because they didn't start doing calculus until Windows 3.1 was released. Anytime I've had an issue with this where I actually do use Windows and I do use stock Chrome or Firefox or anything else and it still doesn't work, I'm telling you, I have spent 7 to 15 hours on the phone with members of New York State and city government because I had a lien placed on my business against any knowledge, logic, reason, whatever. And I was able to be calmer with them than I was 20 minutes in a live chat with people from Pearson VUE. I am infinitely empathetic and sympathetic to customer service representatives, even if you're completely incompetent. What I will not deal with is when you pretend to be incompetent to try and get me off the fucking phone. I lose all patience with that shit. I may publish a transcript at some point. I'm genuinely aggravated that I allowed my emotional state to be compromised by people that work at Pearson VUE, but it has happened. We have this type of cancer here where in 2006, you will have a textbook on calculus or history or earth science. And then in 2008, they will release a new revision that is $400. And if you want to be able to do your homework, you cannot buy the used textbook for $28 at the bookstore from 2006, because apparently earth science has changed radically in 2 years. You need to purchase the 2008 textbook of $400 because the homework questions are going to be different. And the answers to those questions are going to be different. Maybe they ask you about a different periodic table element code or some shit in one of them. And they do this because you will fail if you don't buy the new textbook. Most community colleges don't have budgets for teachers to ask homework questions that have fill-in answers, which means that they are going to use Scantrons, multiple choice, which means that if you don't do your work according to the multiple choice, then you are going to fail. And they know this, and they exploit this to make as much money as humanly possible. It's disgusting. Many textbook companies do this shit. I get it if you have a community college, they're getting paid $50,000 to $75,000 a year. They probably have to juggle 3 or 6 classes at a time to make this shit work with what the students are paying. They don't have the budget to be able to have a teacher do fill-ins. It sucks. There's no subject on planet Earth, no matter how interesting, useful, incredibly engaging it is, that is not ground into dust when you try to cram that subject into multiple choice for the purposes of cheapened, watered-down education. But it is what it is. You have many companies nowadays, like Pearson VUE, or whether this company, that are so ingrained into the fabric of the school that they would have to start doing everything from scratch to rip it out. And once these companies understand that their software and materials are so far ingrained into the fabric of that school that the professors would have to be re-educated entirely on how to use a different system, they know they have you by the balls, and that's when they start nickel and diming you. That's when they start changing the terms of the sale, which is what they're doing here. And one of the things that I think that people in Poland need to do, there's 2 things. The first is you got to start understanding a little bit of American culture. You got to start understanding stuff like the South Park Cable Company CEO. You got to understand the South Park BP oil spill apology episode so that you understand what is being done to you. You have to understand that what they're doing to you is this. The second thing you guys need to do, and to be clear, this is hypocritical of me because I'm not learning a lot of Polish, but I'm suggesting that you guys learn a little bit of Italian. You got to learn a little bit of Italian Sign Language, and I guarantee it's going to be a lot easier for you to speak Italian Sign Language than it is for me to be able to read this article over here. Are you ready? This is the one thing you guys need to start telling them. Fuck you. Fuck you. It's the best piece of Italian Sign Language you're ever going to learn. And if you don't start pushing back against this shit now, again, that term, I don't like that term, subscription capitalism, but that's what we're going to be dealing with. I love capitalism. I think capitalism is great. I want to buy my Simple Green Cleaner. I don't want to subscribe for the ability to be able to push this. Like I get 3 sprays for $5 a month. I get 20 sprays for $10 a month, kind of bullshit. I don't want to subscribe for the shit I already paid for. I bought my Simple Green. I paid for it already. I want to be use the Litecoin in the damn bottle. I don't want to deal with subscription capitalism. This is what you're going to be dealing with if you don't push back. Give them a little bit of Italian Sign Language. It won't hurt. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Don't know when that's going to be. Bye now. Fishies. Aren't they cute? I love my fishies.